This is the Phillies Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Philadelphia Phillies. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Phillies Postcast on the Locked On Phillies YouTube channel. My name is Mark Farzetta. I got you covered for each and every postcast throughout this season, which hopefully, will improve at some point, And then Connor Thomas has you covered each and every day for your Locked On Phillies Daily Podcast. Welcome in. Welcome all. Phillies lose 11-4. They have now been outscored 21-8 in their two losses to the San Francisco Giants in the 3 games leading up to this point, where they got a fourth game of the series tomorrow at 4:05. That's what will wrap it up. And I can't wait for it to be over because this was awful. Where to begin? I was thinking, where do you even start with this? You could start with the obvious, which is the first inning where Aaron Nola, walked in a run, allowed 4 runs in total. Also, did he have bad luck? Sure, he had some bad luck, but when you give up 7 runs, 6 of them earned, 9 hits in total, we're not talking about luck. We're talking about the job that you're doing. Plus, let's not forget also, this is what he has done for the season. I mean, this was the worst of the worst. Don't get me wrong. But oh, my goodness gracious. You're talking about 99 pitches there to get through 5 1/3. That's terrible. That's also 4 walks. Let's not forget about the 4 walks as well. We could start in that first inning. We could also start with the fact that Robbie Ray was on the ropes as well in the first inning, and the Phillies let it off the hook, more or less. They allowed him to walk in 2 guys, so he spotted you 2 runs, and you still couldn't get the big hit to really bail out Nola, who settled in nicely after the first inning and then got gotten to again in the 6th inning before he gave way to the bullpen. Also, can we say this? Joe Ross is not a big league pitcher. I know he had 7 years or whatever it was with the Nationals. He's terrible. He's awful. 1 year with the Brewers. I don't know about you. I could totally go with him, never pitching again. And the loss, is it on him? No, absolutely not. Was it a close game by the time he came in? Yeah, it was still close, but man, he's terrible. This was god awful. 1 for 9, another struggle-filled night with runners in scoring position. At least this time around, they got a hit. That hit was Bryce Harper's home run. Now 2 games in a row with Bryce Harper going deep. 2 games in a row with Bryce Harper hitting a 2-run home run. 2 games in a row with Bryce Harper getting a pitch in on the hands that he made an adjustment to hit it out of the ballpark. That's fine. But this was the best way I can describe it, just a terrible game for the Phillies. It was more terrible than them getting shut out, for instance, in 2 games against the St. Louis Cardinals. And the reason being, they had so many opportunities where they were literally gifted these opportunities. I can look at the first inning and say, you know what? We've talked about this baseball team plenty of times. They got the bases loaded situation. They worked plenty of walks against Robbie Ray. We've looked at them and said many, many times, this team has no patience. In that first inning, they had patience. They just couldn't get the big hit. Nick Castellanos is the one guy that jumps to mind. He flew out to center field. He got a 2-0 fastball up in the zone. That's a pitch you got to crush, flat out crush, especially against the left-handed pitcher. He didn't crush it. He missed it. JT Realmuto worked a walk after that. Edmundo Sosa worked a walk. Alec Boehm struck out on a 3-2 slider that was up in the zone. 89 miles per hour. Crush that, bro. Didn't do it at that at-bat. Phillies only got the 1 more run when Edmundo Sosa walked to force in the second run of that inning in the bottom half of the first. But really, I thought when you completed the first inning, that felt like a wrap. Even when Bryce Harper hit the home run to tie the game at 4, I still felt like this is not going to go in the way of the Phillies. There's no way this Phillies team that has struggled to score runs the way they've struggled to score runs, there's no way they can have a bases loaded situation in the first inning, allow the opposing pitcher to walk in 2 guys, and that doesn't come back to bite them in the butt. Now, was it the whole reason they lost? No. Aaron Nola was terrible. Joe Ross is just god-awful. And again, a lack of hitting with runners in scoring position, most notably in that first inning. Plus, Nola, like I said, after the first inning up until the 6th, had settled in. Like, I was shocked at the start of that 6th inning. He was at 79 pitches at the start of the 6th inning. I thought that was a miracle after a 35-pitch first inning. These pitchers, by the way, combined for, I believe it was a 73-pitch first inning. That was a bit of a long one. I also knew we were going to be getting into the show a little later tonight. But all in all, to go back to that first inning, to just focus on Aaron Nola, we're gonna call Aaron Nola today the player of the game, but it's the first time we're going to do a player of the game for negative reasons.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Aaron Nola, because he was terrible. And here's what was so wild about Aaron Nola in that first inning. He was getting up in counts the vast majority of the time. And then he was losing guys. Perfect example. He's got a 1-2 count to Ramos. He loses him, walks him. Wade steps up there. He gives him a 2-2 knuckleball. He actually sits him down. He goes up 1-2 to Flores before he walks him to allow the second run of the ball game. Like, he was getting up in counts and losing guys. 35 first inning pitches, 22 of them were for strikes. He got Fitzgerald to strike out on 3 pitches late in that inning as well. He was getting up and then losing it. I don't know if these guys are just being extra patient, not chasing things out of the zone. He's losing his arm slot. He's not. I was looking at where Marchand was putting his mitt. It looked like wasn't that far off from where he was going. But Yaz steps up to the plate to lead things off, gets a 1-pitch ground out. You're thinking, all right, let's keep that. Yeah, couldn't have been further from the truth. Adames steps up there. He gets the single to the left, double to left field. Lee steps up. He gets the RBI single to right field. Chapman comes up. He gets a single to center after after Nola was up 0-2 in that count. And then you've allowed 3 consecutive hits. 4 consecutive base runners when you count the walk to Ramos, where again he lost him, strikes out Wade for the second out of the inning, and then he walks Flores to walk in the second run. Bailey gets the 2-run single to left field. That was just off the mitt of Trey Turner. That's what I was alluding to when I talked about a little bit of unlucky. That's a ground ball out. Turner was playing up the middle. Should have been out of the inning. He wasn't. 2 more runs score. It's a 4-0 ball game. Going to the bottom of the first inning, Trey Turner steps up, gets the infield single. Bryce Harper gets a walk. Things are looking good. 4 pitches to Harper, all out of the zone by Robbie Ray. Schwarber works the walk. Holy pots and pans. You got the bases loaded, nobody out. Nick Castellanos gets that meatball of a pitch. Fastball, inner half of the plate to middle of the plate, just misses it. Skies it to right field. JT Realmuto, he works the walk. Did a great job in that at-bat of protecting the plate, especially on that 2-2 pitch. Fouled it away. Then he got his third ball and then walked. It was great. They made it a 4-1 game, and then Sosa walked as well on a 5-pitch at-bat to make it a 4-2 ball game. So at least you got a couple of those runs back. But again, you're waiting for the big hit, and it was just never there for the Phils. If you want to talk about overall turning point of the game, I think I know.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
Bottom of the first. Them not scoring on anything that they really produced, that was the turning point. That's when I felt, they're cooked. Absolutely cooked. You could certainly look at Joe Ross coming into the game in the 7th inning and to quickly run through that one. Leadoff hit to Ramos, walk to Wade, gets him on a full count. Flores gets the double to center field. I can't remember which one was the weird hop with Brandon Marsh, but gets Bailey to strike out. Fitzgerald gets the RBI double to center field. Weird bounce on Brandon Marsh. Then Yaz comes up there. He gets the 2-run double to center field, That made it an 11-4 ball game. That was certainly a moment where you're going from a 6-4 game, 7-4 game. All of a sudden, it's 8-4, 9-4, 11-4. This was not good. This was not good for your Philadelphia Phillies. When we come back, we're going to talk about what you'll be talking about tomorrow. I think I got a good idea of what it is. It involves 2 things. One guy getting fired, and another guy, just everyone wants to say, I told you so, when it comes to the other. We'll talk about those guys when we return. This is Locked On Phillies Postcast on the Locked On Phillies YouTube channel. Let me tell you about Prize Picks. Basketball, hockey playoffs. Oh, baby, it's all heating up. You know what I'm saying? There's no better way to turn your sports knowledge into real rewards than with Prize Picks. The easiest, most exciting way to play daily fantasy. With Prize Picks, you simply pick more or less on 2 to 3 player stat projections, and you can have yourself a good time. At least 2 player stat projections, as a matter of fact, and you're in. You can combine players across sports as well, basketball to hockey, hockey to basketball, hockey to baseball, baseball to basketball, whatever it might be. And that's all to have your chance to win up to 2,000 times your cash. Betting on Luka Doncic, looking at Luka Doncic, going to pick his over, Jason Tatum, his over, whatever it might be, over for Bryce Harper hits in the game, whatever it might be, all right there on Prize Picks. Download the app today and use promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's promo code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Game Time app. Let's say the weather warms up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Let's say the weather warms up a little bit. You want to go down to a ball game. Let's say the Phillies warm up a little bit. Win with some consistency. You know what I mean? Nothing better than catching a baseball game in the beautiful summer sun of Philadelphia. Maybe you hear the crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, the smell of the ballpark food. Oh, all the talk about ice cream helmets tonight. Come on. If you're looking for the last-minute ticket, Game Time has you covered. They've never been easier to get tickets to a game, concert, comedy show than with the Game Time app. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Locked On Phillies Postcast. So take advantage of all they have to offer, including Game Time picks. This feature filters out all the fluff. It gets you right down to it. The best seats at the best prices. It's effortless. It's fantastic on the Game Time app. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, use redemption code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. I think I have an idea of what you'll be talking about tomorrow.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Firing Rob Thompson? I think there'll be a lot of I told you so's about how much Aaron Nola sucks, because this was, of all the sucky starts that he's had so far, this was, by far, this took the taco of suckiness today. And then you'll be talking about Rob Thompson potentially being fired. Look, Aaron Nola ain't going anywhere, and I don't see Rob Thompson going anywhere either. This team loves Rob Thompson. The front office gave him the extra vote of confidence last year with the year extension. He ain't going anywhere anytime soon. Not many things would shock me, and this certainly wouldn't shock me to fire a manager, but I would be surprised. I would definitely be surprised if they moved on from their skipper this early in the season. And I feel like I say this every show now, but the Phillies started out last year 37-14, and they're, this is a World Series team. This is a special team. Baseball can fall into this war of attrition that it usually is. And when I'm looking at this game or looking at this Phillies team, I see a team that it just doesn't have it right now. I still see this team as a second half team. I don't see them just coming out of the gates being incredible. I see them as a second half of the year type team, which sucks because that means everything that I see now is going to form a lot of people having strong opinions about who should get fired, who should get benched, who should be traded, who should be cut. If I can throw one person off the team right now, you know who that one person is? It's Joe Ross. That's the one person I just say, see you later, fire him into the sun. That'd be the only guy. Aaron Nola, I'm not doing that to yet. This is a terrible start. Literally the worst start of his career. Again, I'll show you the numbers on Aaron Nola just so you see the ERA in particular. 6.65 ERA. God, that's terrible. I'm going to ask you the same question before I get out of here, before I start the postcast chat check. Who's the one guy you'd kick off the team right now? It could be Rob Thompson, including manager. We'll even go to the front office. Who is it? Who would you kick off the team right now? And you think that would have an enormous impact on this team all of a sudden turning it around? Or would you just trade everybody? Fire sale? Start putting everybody on the trade block? Who would it be? Before I get to the chat check, give you time to think about that. I know a lot of you won't need time, but just to give you an extra second. There was one thing that I just kind of, I don't know if I laughed. I'll be honest. I laughed. Carlos Hernandez is into the 8th inning. Carlos Hernandez is struggling. Walks Chapman on 5 pitches, gets Ramos to fly out to center field, walks Bailey, Then he's facing Wilmer Flores. It's runners on first and second with one out. There's a 3-0 count. At the 3-0 count, Marchand throws the ball back to Carlos Hernandez, and while he's doing that, Bryce Harper is walking over for a mound conference in an 11-4 game with the Phillies down in the 8th inning. Bryce Harper calls timeout, and he walks to the pitcher's mound, and they have a little powwow. And he calls Rafael Marchand out to the mound, and he calls it around. They have a little mound conference down 11-4 in the 8th inning of a game that they've already lost pretty much. And I literally just went, what the hell? What? Is that a laugh or is that more of a chuckle, a guffaw, a shock? I don't know what that is. I'm watching him walk out there and I'm going, what is he doing? And then I realized he doesn't really trust a lot of guys coming out of the bullpen. I don't think he wants Carlos Hernandez to all of a sudden, a guy that they might need later on. I don't think he wants him to lose confidence. And sure enough, after the 3-0 count, they get Flores to fly out to center field. And then Carlos Hernandez strikes out Bailey. For the guy that doesn't bust it down the first baseline every single time, I found it very interesting that in an 11-4 game that the Phillies are losing in the 8th inning, that he goes and has a mound conference. How about that? By the way, speaking of Phillies batters, I mentioned Bryce Harper, 2 walks tonight, also had 2 hits today, including the 2-run home run. His batting average is now up to 269. Nice. On the season, 395 on base percentage with those 2 walks and 2 hits tonight. So you like to see that for him. Trey Turner, 1 for 5 on the night. Rafael Marchand continues to struggle, 0 for 4 with a strikeout. One thing I will say about his strikeout that ended any threat of the bases loaded jam that Robbie Ray was in the first inning, Marchand did not get any help from Dan Bellino. I am not blaming the umpires, but the first pitch of that at bat was a slider down and in, called a strike. Well off the plate, well below the knees, called a strike. I don't care that Rafael Marchand is a rookie. That's just a really bad call by home plate umpire Dan Bellino. So then, where does Robbie Ray go for the rest of that bat? Pretty much down and in sliders. All of them off the plate. All of them swung at by Rafael Marchand. He ended up striking out to end that inning. But still, not the umpire's fault. But while I'm ripping the umps, that was also not a strike in the last pitch of the game to JT Realmuto. Although I will say this won't be a time where I rally for the robo umps, simply because I was glad that he called that a strike and put this game out of its misery. Took the game and put it behind the woodshed. You know what I'm saying? Okay, anyway. There we go. All right, let's get into the chat check and see how you guys are doing on this not-so-great Phillies night. Jeremy, hello. Another piss-poor night for Topper. How do you not have anyone up in the bullpen at the beginning of the 6th inning? Someone as analytic-driven as he is, opposing hitters 3rd time around, let alone the 4th time. I don't know. And I think it was around – so you already have him at 79 pitches. He was – pretty much on cruise control. Now, one more run in the 5th inning. They started to get to him more in the top of the 6th. He walks Bailey. At that point, somebody else needs to be in the game, without question. Like, he goes down again. Another situation. This inning was reminding me a lot of the first inning because I think he was up on Flores. He was up on Bailey 0-2, then walked him. Fitzgerald gets the single. Then he goes up on Yastrzemski. 1-2, he's up in that count. Loses him for a walk. Bases loaded, 1 out. Then they bring in Jose Ruiz. Like, here, have at it, friend. Walks Adames. And then he gives up the sac fly RBI to Lee. Not a good job there, Topper. Evelyn, love the start. What the heck? That's what I'll say you mean by that. What was that lineup? Why keep taking Stott out when he's doing well? And we keep Bohm night after night. Pathetic performance by the pitching. Bohm had another hit tonight, by the way. Pathetic performance by pitching. And again, with runners in scoring position, Thompson tonight. Just disgusted with this team and Thompson tonight. I hear you. Polar Buck, hello. Bad news. We got pummeled. Good news. Ralston and blow the lead. He just solidified it. What an... That's funny. It's a family program. This is a family program. What's up with Nola? Oh, he just stinks right now. He really, really stinks. What's so mind-numbing to me is being up in the count and losing guys. Like, the put-away pitch wasn't there tonight. I had look again. Like I'm racking my brain with like Nola has had rough patches in his career, no doubt, and they often alternate. Last year was a good year. This year was a bad year, or this year's due for a bad year, I should say. And it's kind of alternated for the last 5-6 years like that. ERA in the 4s and 3s and 4s and 3s and 4s and 3s, and now ERA in the 6. What? But I'm like, does he miss Garrett Stubbs? And then I'm like, that sounds like an excuse, and it is an excuse. It's not a legitimate one, so it's not an explanation. I'm just trying to rack my brain and say, or I'm racking my brain just being like, why is it this bad? Why is it this bad to start the season, especially with tonight's performance? But what else we got here? Yeah, Nola's probably injured. I don't want to just jump to that. That did cross my mind as well, but you never want to just put it out there. I think somebody on the broadcast said it tonight though. Like I think he's healthy, like one of those things. Like gross. JDM stink, right? Crazy. Dombrowski blew it with this bullpen. Obviously, poor Nola performance. Must be injured. LG Griffin, hello. I'm a big fan of the Phillies. My younger brother going to be a dad. Congratulations. Philly and 8, hello. Unfortunately, must go severance mode tonight, Mark F. Please remove the juice boxes and orange slices. There we go. Jeremy Shriver, hello again, buddy. Turning point was Johan Rojas missing the damn. How about that throw? Yeah, that because Harper gets the RBI, the 2-run home run in the bottom of the 4th. Lee gets the 1-out double in the 5th inning. Chapman gets a single to center. They weren't sending Lee, who can run. Rojas airmails it. He airmails it wide, like high and wide from center field. That was pretty terrible. And yeah, that was no bueno. That's a good point. Good one there, Jeremy. Zach, brand new year is off to a fantastic start. Farzy, do we plan on putting a professional team on the field this year? I still think I'm going to ride this for as long as I can. Second half players. Not June. Show me something in June. Evelyn, hitting coach. Maybe the hitting coach gets fired. Kevin Long, fire into the sun. Okay. Kick half the bullpen out. Kevin Long could also argue Caleb Cotham, Taiwan Walker. Shall I go on? Like Walker has had one bad inning this year. That's what I keep trying to remind myself. He had one really bad inning. Crazy wants to fire Dombrowski into the sun. There you go. Thanks everybody in the chat. Much appreciated. Hey, tomorrow I'll be back with you guys right here on Locked On Phillies Postcast, the Locked On Phillies YouTube channel, following the 4:05 start time tomorrow for your Philadelphia Phillies, where they at least look to split the series with the San Francisco Giants. Again, it's a 4:05 start time. Christopher Sanchez gets the ball. He'll go against Jordan Hicks, lefty-righty tomorrow. Sanchez coming off that start that he had against the St. Louis Cardinals, where he went 6 1/3, allowing 1 run on 8 hits and induced 4 double plays. Not too bad. A little bit more of that, please, from the 1-0 Christopher Sanchez. As for Jordan Hicks, no, not the former Eagles linebacker, of course. The right-handed pitcher for the San Francisco Giants comes into this game 1-1 on the season with a 5.87 ERA. He is coming off just a 4-inning performance against the New York Yankees. They took him for 7 runs, but no home runs in that one. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to Locked On Phillies YouTube channel. Connor Thomas has you covered for your Locked On Phillies daily podcast. I have you covered for your Locked On Phillies postcasts. And tomorrow at noon on Locked On Eagles YouTube channel, me, Jason Martinez, Harry Mays have you covered for a full hour of Eagles content with the all-new podcast, Eagles Squad podcast, presented by Locked On. So don't miss that tomorrow at noon. We'll be on the Locked On Eagles YouTube channel, breaking all things down that come to the Philadelphia Eagles. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You guys are fantastic as per usual. We'll be back with you guys tomorrow, hopefully after a Phillies win. See you guys then. Bye.